Miss Rach, can I hug you? I want to hug you. You've done so much for us.
Thank you so much too. I really appreciate you. Such a kind person with your family.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for changing our lives,
Yeah.
for sowing into us, for believing in what we're doing, and to helping us reach out to the community around us. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome back to Miss Rachel YouTube channel. Today I'm so excited to bring you the couple that I featured sometimes last year, and we are here to say thank you so much for donations and watching our content. We really appreciate each and every one of you. So today I'm here to present you donations that you sent me to the couple.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've been so touched by the donations that have come into us, to our ministry, to our parents' ministry. You guys have really been changing our life. And I want to thank every one of you so much. I can say thank you in the languages I know to say thank you in. So thank you so much in English. Asante sana in Kiswahili. Mahraba in Arabic. You can say Dankeschön in German. Muchas gracias in Spanish. You can say for I know Lucali, I don't know the thank you for Bukusu. Thank you so much. We love you guys. We've been touched personally by your encouragement, by your support of our YouTube channel as well. I know you keep asking Miss Rach about our YouTube channel. If you haven't found it yet, you can look up The Wanyoni Family. We're there, The Wanyoni Family. Wanyoni, for those in the West, it's WANYONYI. Wanyoni Family. All of our links are there. Miss Rach also has our information, and she'll link us in the description too. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for giving on our website. To the 2 people who decided to do monthly donations, thank you so much. You've changed the budget for my family every month.
Wow.
And I really appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who's given even the smallest amount. God bless you. Did you want to say anything for that?
Yes, Sunday. Said thank you. Just thank you.
Yeah, thank you, my friend. I love it so much, everything you're doing for us. I appreciate. Now, I love you all. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this is yours too. Small.
I'll let you carry that when you're
Yeah, I always got something. Yeah.
It's a blessing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Miss Rach, can I hug you? I want to hug you. You've done so much for us.
Thank you so much too. I really appreciate you. Such a kind person with your family.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for changing our lives,
Yeah.
for sowing into us, for believing in what we're doing, and to helping us reach out to the community around us. Thank you. And God bless you.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of people who've interviewed us on YouTube,
Yeah.
but you guys are the only one who's like, I don't know, who's changed our life.
Yeah.
Really, you've
Yeah.
changed our life. So I'm grateful for what God's done through you. And I know that this is what you want. So I know the audience has done it. But you know, there's audiences for a lot of people, and the audience that's with you guys,
Yeah.
it's an audience who really cares. It's an audience who really wants to make a difference in somebody's life. And I'm grateful for you guys because you mobilize. You know, you're the ones that go out and find the people who need something, and you mobilize an audience who wants to give. And then I'm grateful for the audience because they take the initiative not to think somebody else will do it, because that's the really, a lot of people have this thought, somebody else will take care of it, somebody else will do something. But really, when you feel something on your heart, a lot of times it's God saying, you are the one I'm telling to do this.
Yeah.
I got one. on Black Friday. So this one is a 50,000 shilling fridge. I got for 30,000 shillings. And I got this one specifically. My mom and dad keep things in here too, so it's mine and my parents. But we have a freezer for meat now. So that one I'm really, really happy for. We have the thing for vegetables down there. And then I have like some vinegars, and I can keep fruits for longer. You see, I bought a big watermelon and cut it up. We had some. We're keeping some. If this was another day, we didn't used to be able to keep our produce. So I have juices, I have cheese, I have maziwa lala, which Albert and I both love. We got yogurt for the kids. So my parents and I both use this because my parents don't have one. So that's why they sent up the package after they were done like shopping today. They sent up meat that they bought to cook down there because now they can have meat in their diet, you know?
Yeah,
like
sure.
before, without this one, we could have meat, but it means you have to eat it all at one time. Or else you have to give it to the neighbors, which is fine. We like sharing with the neighbors, but if you can't afford meat and you finally spend money and you get meat, then you know you want to be able to save it for a little while. So this way, Albert and I made burgers the other night, like hamburgers, and I'm gonna make burritos another night with chapati instead of tortillas, because I don't have access to tortillas here. I know you guys have tortillas in like Nairobi supermarkets, but here I don't have tortillas, so I'm making chapati, and we'll make burritos and chapati. So yeah, I'm happy. This is a huge blessing to me. So this one was actually an anonymous donation from a church member back in the US. I don't know which church member, but I know which church. But this was anonymous, and that TV was from somebody who watched us on your channel, and they gave us money for Christmas presents, and this was one of the Christmas presents we got for the family. Also on Black Friday, so this was 10,000 shillings.
Oh, 10,000 shillings.
10,000.
10,000 shillings?
Yes.
Why? This is 32-inch TV, right?
Yes. But we don't do smart TVs. We just did the digital.
The digital one.
Yeah, because we don't have the internet anywhere for the smart TVs.
No need for smart TVs.
Exactly.
Right?
We just wanted digital. But Albert wanted to be able to watch the games. We wanted to be able to watch gospel stuff and cartoons for the kids. So this is a blessing.
So how do you tell that person now? Because she was watching
So
this video.
thank you for the Christmas presents. My husband stays home and watches games with me now instead of going to games across the way. Thank you so much. And we also got well, it's all broken down, but this is the track for the cars.
Oh.
This is the car track. You put it together
For the kids,
and
right?
the cars come on it themselves. So this is one of Zachariah's Christmas presents.
Beautiful.
And the girls got some dolls. They're in their room right now. And since the kids are trying to sleep, I won't get them. But these are some of the school books that I'll be doing this year. Some of them. I got this wonderful little book back in the US on Africa. So this one talks about different things in different African countries. It talks about the regions of Africa and the markets in Africa and the languages in Africa. So this is part of their, cultural stuff. I've got, see, here's the environmental activities from Kenya for
This is
one.
more of environment and nature.
Social studies. We've got some
Swahili
low-level Kiswahili. Here's the music learners one. This one has instructions on making your own instruments with the kids. I'm really excited about that. It talks about dances. This one's a pre-primary math book. So teaching like numbers and a little bit of addition and subtraction for pre-primary. So I'm gonna start Zachariah on this because he's gonna wanna do stuff with his sister. This is a workbook that I got for Zachariah. Also pre-primary stuff, like tracing things, getting to know colors,
drawing.
so I brought that one for him. Here's a math book for June. See this one, Master Books. This is the one I found from my friend.
Okay.
I love master books from what I've seen of them. I got a phonics book, a science book, social studies, and math. And then just like a basic kindergarten one. So this will go through a lot of mathematical things.
Yeah.
but for, you know, for an early year, this is kindergarten. So basically it's PP1 plus PP2, and June is in PP2 this year. So we're trying to, because the teacher last year said she wasn't ready to move forward. So what I'm trying to do is take her from the level at PP2 that she's at and move her up into Standard 1 to get used to some of the Standard 1 things as well. So we'll teach her through this stuff and we'll get her ready for Standard 1. Hopefully we'll move her into some Standard 1 by the end of the end of the school terms. Yeah. This one is the social studies. So it actually takes you through different countries. And it teaches you about language in different countries and family in different countries. It asks them questions about their family and their name and their story to kind of get them acquainted with not only themselves and their own culture, but also cultures around the world. So it has a little map here, and it's got little numbers on the map. So it'll teach about Egypt, it'll teach about India and some of these other places, and the USA, like little pieces of those cultures. Like this first lesson here goes into families in different areas. It talks about their family and asks them questions about their family. It asks them to draw their family. It talks about, the Bible, and it talks about Arabic and where in Egypt they speak Arabic. So then it talks about a little bit about that country. And throughout the book, it'll have several like that. It even has recipes in here. I don't know where. I'll have to find them in some places. There you go. So they have teacher notes here. There's a recipe. So like how much things I need for that specific recipe and how to do the recipe with the kids. And then you cook with the kids this specific thing. So it's a lot of different things that we can do with the kids. This one is the kindergarten science. So kindergarten is PP1, PP2 again. So it goes through like the clouds and what does the sky look like during the day? What does the sky look like during the night? Which is also in the environmental studies for Kenya. It talks about the taste of things, sweet, salty, sour, bitter. So you taste different things and you get to know the different tastes. It talks about washing hands and health things. It talks about germs. I actually got some glitter. You know glitter? Like the... Riches? Yeah, so I got glitter to use for one of the experiments to teach them about germs. So you put glitter on the hands and you rub it around.
And this too.
And you try and wash it off, and you can see that unless you use soap, it doesn't all come off. So it teaches them about washing their hands properly to get the germs off by using glitter. So that's one of the things we'll be doing through this book.
So it'd be more practical.
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful.
Jina langu Carrie Joy Wanyoni. I study Kiswahili kidogo, but I don't know very much yet. My name's Carrie Joy Wanyoni. I'm studying Kiswahili small, but I don't know very much yet. I am married here in a Kenyan village called Bungoma. It's in western Kenya. I'm a missionary, and I was a missionary before I met my husband working here in Bungoma. God brought him as a part of my life, and he and I complement each other in ministry. We have a similar calling, and so we're running a ministry together. And I'm working for the original ministry that I came out here for. It's called Last Call Ministries. My parents run that one. My ministry is on the side of that one. It's more of an outreach and community organization called Joy Family Missions. My husband and I run that one together, and we work together with the other ministry to do things here in Western Kenya. Sometimes we team up and we have cooperative things. Sometimes I do things just for the other ministry, and sometimes I do things just for my ministry. So I have a very busy life with that. I'm starting to homeschool my kids this year. This one's an update since last time, because I know last time I wasn't homeschooling, but that's a new thing that I'm doing now. I am, let's see, 30, I think I'll be 37 this year. You know, after some time you stop remembering. It's not because I don't want to get older. I don't care. Like, age is just a number. But I don't pay attention. I'm 37 in May. So, yeah. Okay, so as far as an update, since the last video, those of you who haven't seen it, I encourage you to go watch the other video. Miss Rach goes with me to the market here in Bungoma, and we buy a chicken and some tomatoes and other things, and we cooked the chicken here over a fire. So that was a wonderful video. You're welcome to watch to get like the first story of what my life was like. My life is in a lot of ways the same, but I can tell you that there's been a lot of changes since last time she interviewed me. Over the last couple months, I actually had to go visit America. As a missionary, you're supposed to go back. Usually most missionaries go back once a year for about a month. I can't do that because I'm married here. I have kids here. So I went back after 3 years. It's been a little over 3 years since last time. So I went back and I spent 2 months there since it had been so long. I wanted to connect with different people that I have good relationships with back there. I wanted to give ministry updates for both my mom's ministry and my ministry back home. I brought pictures, I brought stories. I introduced them to the idea of chiswa, the termites that people eat out here, because that's not something that they're familiar with in America. I showed them a video of me cooking termites for my family. What, kumbu kumbu, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, cooking. Kumbe kumbe. I always do that. Kumbe kumbe for my family. And my sister made me tell every single person that I saw. She said, tell them about the termites. Every time I was introduced to someone new, tell them about the termites. Because that's just not something we do in America typically. So that was really interesting for them, but there was a lot of ministry update I did. We received a few new sponsors from America, people that I know who wanted to sponsor my family to be able to take care of our life out here, so that we can minister. Because I was in a place before, I'll just tell you a very short bit about this. My family was eating gideri every day. We still eat gideri quite often because my husband loves it, my kids love it. But I was in a place where there was one week where I only had a few potatoes left in my house. I had nothing else to eat. I'd run out of every spice. I'd run out of every food. I had no money. I had like 5 potatoes left. And before that, I had been feeding my kids different kinds of potatoes. I made potato crisps. I made potato chips or fries. I made like just boiled potatoes with things in, like when I had tomatoes left, I made boiled potatoes with tomatoes and onions. But I had only potatoes, and I stopped eating for a few days because I didn't have food for my kids. And I was seeing in my mind the time that I was going to run out of those potatoes and that my kids would have nothing. And it was very emotional. And I prayed about it, and the day that I was going to run out of food, God miraculously provided through a donor in the US who sent out money and said, I just feel like God's telling me you need food. So I sent you money for food, go get food. And I was crying and I was thankful because somebody sent me money for food. I went out and I bought groceries. We all ate after that. I never had to see my kids crying because of hunger. I never have had to see my kids crying because of hunger. But after that, I was still on a budget. I went out, I bought a big bag of maize. We grew some maize, but we have small land, so we didn't grow very much. So we bought a big bag of maize. We bought several koros of beans. And we started making gideri because that was a way I knew my kids would have food every day. And I didn't have extra money. And somebody on TikTok wrote on there and said, I mean, come on, are you trying, like, I had a lot of, are you torturing your kids? You're making them eat gideri every day? Like, what are you doing? And, you know, my kids typically like it, but they were going through complaining stages sometimes. One time my son was crying because he didn't like the bowl his gideri was in. And he started crying on camera and it became a big hit. But on that video, everyone, you're torturing your children. How come you live in Kenya? Like, what are you doing to your kids? And one woman wrote in and said that, you know, why don't you just put potatoes and carrots in there? Potatoes and carrots are cheap. You can afford that. You can't tell me you can't afford that. Yeah. And that comment, like, comments don't usually affect me very much. Usually I'm just like, oh, whatever, you know, they don't know my life. And they don't. But because that was tied to my kids' diet, and I'm very attached to that emotionally. Yeah. it made me feel terrible as a mom because I couldn't afford carrots and I couldn't afford potatoes. I could only afford the beans and the maize, and I could barely afford that. Like, it got to the point where if I needed to go get beans, if someone was like, hey, we're out of beans today, I felt almost fearful inside. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I'm not in that place now. I'm thankful that people have decided to give to us and to our family's well-being so that we can minister out here, and so that I'm not afraid of my children not getting the proper nutrition. I had a family out in the US. This was through somebody I knew. Anonymously, somebody out there gave me $300 so that I could buy a refrigerator. So while I was still visiting in the US, I bought a refrigerator on Jumia and had it delivered to Bungoma, and my husband went and picked it up and brought it here. And they didn't use it until I got back because they've never used a refrigerator before. So they had to wait for me to come back to set it up and be like, this is how you use a refrigerator. But now everybody's so happy. And I have carrots now, and I have potatoes now, so we can put those in our gideri. I have juice in the refrigerator for my son and my daughters. I had yogurt last night with my kids because I can get a big yogurt and use small at a time. My life looks different than it used to, and that's partly because of the people in the US, but it's partly because there's 2 people at least from Miss Rach who saw the video that she made, who contacted me, and who have made monthly donations. Outside of those 2 people who did monthly donations, I had several people who donated towards books for my kids because I needed to get school books, who donated towards Christmas presents for my kids and my family, and they specifically told me, this is for Christmas presents, use it for Christmas presents. One person gave me money and they told me to use it on myself because they said, we know you're a mom, we know you don't use anything on yourself, so buy something for yourself. I had one person treat me to get a manicure when I was out in the US. I had one person who I know who does facials for a profession, so she did a facial for me for free to bless me. I have a lady I know who does hair, and she cut my hair for free and gave me shampoo and conditioner to bring back, like professional stuff and nice stuff. We had one guy who saw me through Miss Rach's channel and who blessed me with the money to build a fence around our property. We haven't built it yet. I've been back for like a week and a half, and I'm getting my kids ready for school. So after school is started, then I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna purchase everything needed for the fence. We're gonna build a fence around this place, and I'll film it so that you guys can see what we're doing. It'll be part of everything. We have a TV now because that was part of the Christmas present. Albert's been asking forever. The kids have missed TV for a long time. We used to have a solar TV, and it broke a long time ago. So everybody's happy. We have a TV again. We can watch movies. Albert can watch Arsenal games. I can watch Arsenal games. The kids around here are so surprised to have a woman that's so in love with Arsenal. I was watching a game the other day, and Albert wasn't even here, and the kids were laughing at me because I talked to the TV. I get up and rejoice when something happens. I say, what were you thinking? They think it's really funny that a woman is that involved in the sports because around here there's not many women who love football.
Yeah, sure.
I know in the city there are, but here in my area there just aren't very many. But thankfully now we have support. I mean, we still could use more eventually, but we're in a place where we're not starving. I'm not worried about my kids' future. We've had people contact us wanting to give us school materials for the school that we're going to start, but because I don't have a building, because I don't have any place to put it right now, I haven't been able to accept any of that. It doesn't mean I won't in the future. I'm staying in touch with them. I'll let them know when things are happening, when things are being built, but because I don't have a place to put it, I can't say, yeah, send it to me, because what am I gonna do, leave it outside and then it all gets ruined? Like, I can't accept something that I can't use yet. But I'm grateful. I'm so immeasurably grateful for every single person that's gotten in touch with me just to give an encouraging word. Some people who have given me donations for our family, people who have sown into the ministry. There are a couple of people who have given towards education, so those things have been given to the kids that my family is sponsoring for school. We have more kids outside of the ones my family sponsors for school, the family ministry, my mom and dad, we have, I think it's only, let me see, 6 children right now that are being sponsored for school through my parents' ministry. There are also 2 more that Albert and I, out of some personal connections, helped last year, and they're gonna need help again this year. So after the ones that my mom is helping are taken care of, I will get the information out also for the ones that we're helping, because I have to make sure that my mom's ministry is taken care of first on that regard. But as far as schooling goes, we've had 2 people donate towards schooling, and those have been given towards school fees. We had 1 person donate to help a needy family for my mom's ministry, and shortly after they gave, there was a father who left their family here in the village, and a 16-year-old girl was called home to help that family get through that time, because the mom couldn't take care of everything on her own. The donation that 1 person made to help with food was able to get them through an emergency time. The daughter was able to go back to school this term because now their family has gotten off of their feet again, or back onto their feet again. Joy Family Missions, my ministry with my husband, our specific things is outreach. Right now we have a outreach football team here in Nyangali. We're called the Nyangali Warriors. It's young men ages 15 up to 22 right now, and my husband does most of the running of that one. I'm more on the support side of things. He talks to these young men, he mentors them, he teaches them about God, like little bits here and there before they play ball. They pray and they build a relationship with God before every single practice, before every single game that they play. They play together or pray together as a team, and they do small bits of encouragement. Like right now, he's focused on teaching the young men about respect and mentorship, because it's just the beginning. We started this team mid-December, and already it's the beginning of January right now, and we have had our first tournament of what will be our annual annual Joy Family Missions tournament. Every January before school starts, we're planning on making this bigger and bigger every year as we get supporters. But we had 8 local teams here this year, with a cash prize of $5,000 available because of sponsors that came from both my trip to America and Miss Rach, who actually did a video on us last year, several videos on us last year. So we were able to sponsor the tournament, pay the referees to watch the matches, rent some uniforms, and we had 8 local teams who were taking part in this. Our team, even though it's only 1 month old, the boys got together and worked really well as teammates, and they were actually able to take first place. It was a really, really tight race, but they got first place. So we were really proud of them, and we're really proud of everybody else who showed up. They did really great work all in all. It was a 3-day tournament, and we'll do it again next January. But hopefully next January, we're hoping to have like vendors and trophies and a larger cash prize, and hopefully some like t-shirts and other things to hand out. We'll go out there and use it as a place of ministry. We'll speak to the people about our ministry and just use it as a whole outreach event. We're hoping to eventually do a kids youth camp before the event. So like the whole week following up to the event, to reach out to like kids and show them all of these like sports things that they can do, and let them like run around the pins and get little bits of sports training here in the village. So it can be a really fun local event every single year, and we're looking forward to that. But right now, every single day, every single weekday, Albert's meeting with our team now, and he's mentoring them. If anybody has any challenges, they come and they talk to him about them, and he can mentor them through it. Mentoring young men is something we've been doing for quite some time. God usually brings them to us one by one, and we just mentor them as they come. We have like many stories of boys that we've been able to help out. We've been able to actually reach out to people that we know to support these young men when they've gone through troubling times. One of them we were actually able to help in little ways to help furnish his house this last year, because he built a house. We started reaching out to him when he was 17, now he's in his 20s, and we were able to help him get a little jump start in life at least. So we're really proud of him and happy to be part of his life. Every single boy that we help ends up feeling like part of our family. But that's just one area of our ministry. Eventually, we feel like God wants us to open a boys' home. We want to do a lot of ministry in Bungoma with street boys. We want to travel around the country and meet with other ministries to kind of create a network of ministries together. One day in the future, I feel like God wants me to have a network of orphanages. And our network of orphanages can reach out for support, for sponsorships and things like that. It's not something that I have money in my pocket to give out to orphanages, but eventually I see God building up a network of orphanages, a global network of orphanages, where we can get support for orphans who need like schooling assistance and food and just general support. We might even be able to eventually find people who can adopt some of the orphans who are like double orphans out here in Africa. In America, we call an orphan somebody who doesn't have both parents. Here in Africa, someone who doesn't have one parent is often called an orphan, because just missing one parent, you often don't have enough food, enough clothes. Sometimes you're sent to go live with another relative, because if dad's dead, a lot of times mom can't afford to take care of you, or the other way around. Oftentimes, if you're without one parent, you're essentially without both parents. So a lot of orphans are without one parent, but there are many without both parents, and those ones are called double orphans out in this area. So that's why I know some people from other countries might wonder what I'm talking about with double orphan. That's what we mean by double orphan. So we want to work with street boys and orphans and bring people into some children's homes, but we need to buy more land before we do that one. That one's like in the future. I'm starting homeschooling my kids this year, but eventually that will turn into having a local like village school here. So we'll establish a village school with some really great globally based curriculum, and we just hope to bring a really good Christian school to this area. I see that in the near future because of what's already happening with my kids. I'm reaching out, I'm starting to homeschool, and there's already been some interest from some people in this area who want to eventually send their kids to what will be our school. But we just have to build to that first and get everything worked out with the government. So that's one of the things we'll be doing. We'll have a chapel. We're not looking to make a church yet. Once our ministry grows, the chapel where the kids can worship at and we can do community events at, like we want to do tutoring and community outreach and community activities for the children, and even for the local community. But that chapel eventually will become our church. But we aren't just looking to start a church. Like I know most ministries is like, here's my church, come to my church. It's not like we don't want to have a church. We do, but I'm already serving at another church. Yeah, sure. So for now, I'm going to remain serving at that church that belongs to my parents' ministry. It's called God's Heart Ministries out there in Miluki, Bungoma. But for now, that's where I'll be. And then eventually we'll open up the Joy Family Missions Church. The chapel will turn into a church, and we'll do that. Another project that we want to do is a career training center. So once we start helping street boys and orphans, a lot of times these kids have been out of school for a long time and don't really want to go back and finish their formal education. So having something like a career training center would be a really great bonus. We want to be able to train all of the kids at all of our schools on computers, because that's a really relevant thing to know nowadays. Like you get into any career, you really need to know how to use computers. You need to know how to use electronics, because that's globally what everybody's using right now. There's digital files that you need to learn to work with. So we want to have a computer center there at the chapel that the school can use and that the career training center can use. And then in addition to that, the career training center can have things like, masonry and carpentry and other types of careers that these street boys and orphans can learn. I'd love to send any of them to school that want to go back to school, but with the people I've already worked with, some of them are just not ready to go back to school. Some of them want career training and that's it. They're ready to start their lives. They're just so old, they don't want to go back and start grade 6 over again. They want to just get on with their life, be able to support a family, and a career training center is part of that. So some of these, believe it or not, were actually visions I had for my life when I was still in America. And I didn't know I was going to be trying to implement these in Kenya. These were just things I wanted to do. I saw myself having a lot of land and having it be a place where people who were in need could come and they could get career training, they could get life skills, and to be able to get assistance, to be able to help people who need help. And I can't qualify this person needs help and that person doesn't need help because everybody's life looks different. But we want to be able to have assistance for those who need it. My mom's ministry looks a little different than mine. Hers is mostly based in the church, and I work with her. She works with more of the females that need help, the battered women and orphan girls, and then I take care of more of the young men, the orphan boys, the young men in need, my husband and I together, because that's the burden that God's placed on our hearts. I've done tutoring with a lot of kids in the village here before. More of the kids that are like the older kids are more receptive to tutoring from a Mzungu, because I don't know Kiswahili well enough yet. So the little kids, they come and they're happy to be around, they love being around, and we actually reach out to a lot of the young kids out here. But they don't like interacting with language very much because they're very afraid to try and speak English with the Mzungu. So we do outreach with the little ones. We feed them all the time here. Like every single lunch, we probably have at least 4 kids addition to our family, sometimes more than that, that we're feeding, because we're not going to turn people away. We're not going to be like, go home and eat food. That would be terrible. Like, God's called us especially to the kids. So if kids come to eat, we feed them. We're very happy to. We have family, we have cousins, and other kids from across the street that aren't even related that come here all the time for food, and we're happy for that. But we want to do more programs. We want to do seeds assistant programs where we can help people to have a starter pack of seeds to begin planting their land. People that can't afford the seeds and the fertilizer for their land, we want to be able to have a sponsorship program to help jumpstart people who aren't able to start that on their own. We want to have a program of sponsorship to individual families that need monthly assistance for food. We actually do have somebody who found us thanks to Miss Rachel's program, and she contacted me yesterday when Ben was here. She contacted me and she asked me what it would take to help feed a local family that's in need right now. So I gave her that monthly sponsorship information. She did a one-time gift, and this week we'll be heading out to get a care package for that family, and we'll go drop it off and we'll film it and get it online for you guys to see. Outside of that, I know you have more questions, but I want to thank everybody, because I know I won't go into detail because I know you'll probably ask it,
so
but I want to thank them.
Appreciate.
So we've also had another woman recently contact us wanting to help a village family with food. So we're, I've already spoken about that one, that we're going to pick up the care package. Let me see, not tomorrow because I'm preaching at church tomorrow, but on Monday after school, we'll go and get a package of several different foods that we put together for the families. We have a set amount of everything that we get. It takes $40 to put a care package together. So like 4,000, a little over 4,000 shillings to put together this care package to help out a family, but it gets them like a bit of like sugar and rice and 10 kgs of maize and several other things to kind of help them through a difficult time. We've had one family that's coming to us asking for work regularly, and we haven't had any work to give them yet. So this is something that we can do to help them. Since we have someone who wants to help them with food, this is the family we'll help, because they've been repeatedly coming and asking and asking and asking, and I can only give what I have. So now I have something to give them to help for now. But we're hoping that some of these families can get some monthly donations to help support them while they look for work or while they look for other things. We want to help the people who are trying to help themselves, but who haven't, we don't want to create an economy where we are just giving to somebody who doesn't want to do something. We want to help somebody who's trying to get somewhere in life. And then once they get somewhere, then we help to build them up until they can sustain themselves. And then we go and help someone else do the same thing. If you help somebody who just wants to sit around and do nothing, because we've had people like that come to us, then you're just sowing into nothing, and you're actually encouraging the economy to go down.
Yeah.
Because you're encouraging people to do nothing for the food that they eat. You have to work for what you get. Even the Bible says, he who does not work shall not eat. You have to work for it. So we always encourage someone to be actively working towards building up their life, and we're happy to help them along the way. I already talked about the seeds program, the food program. So that's, for now, the programs that we have. We have one other person that's contacted me that wants to help us with one of the projects, the chicken project that we're doing. And she keeps giving me information. She's from Kenya. No, she's not from Kenya. She's from Africa, but I don't remember what country. She lives in Europe right now. But she's been researching, and she's like, have you checked into this kind of chicken? Have you checked into that kind of incubator? Always sending me like little things. And so we've had really good discourse about chicken projects with her experience in Europe and my experience here, trying to put some ideas together. And she sent me a small donation also to help along the way, and she's promised to send more as she gets it. And whether she does or doesn't, like, my relationship with people, it's not based in money.
Yeah.
My relationship is based in relationship.
Sure.
It's based in Christ. And I don't just talk with people to talk, because I have a calling that I am called to.
Yeah.
But I do talk to people when it's productive talk. And I'm really happy with a lot of the people that I've met. I've been so blessed. I'm really glad to know you guys. And I know you said to address the haters too. I don't know what the haters have been saying on your channel. I know what I've run into in the past. A lot of the things I've been told is that I'm culturally appropriating because I'm living the African lifestyle, and that's why people leave America and come to Africa, is because they can't live this way in America, that they want to be black, and so they come here. That's what I get a lot, is that I want to be black.
You want to...
I find it's better not to argue with people. If they think I want to be black, they can think what they want to. I'm married to a Kenyan guy, so for me, you know, if I was to come here and marry a Kenyan guy and have kids who are Kenyan and American, why not teach them both cultures? Why not bring American culture and Kenyan culture into my household to push out Kenyan culture and say this has no place in an African household? Like, that would be like being a colonist, right? Coming here and saying, I'm imposing my way of doing things on you. That would be colonization, right? In a family setting. I have to accept the Kenyan way of doing things. Do you know something I haven't told many people? I don't usually love Kenyan food. I eat Kenyan food because I live here. I eat Kenyan food because my husband loves Kenyan food because he's Kenyan. And I don't cook it like the restaurant food. I cook it local because that's what he likes. And I like to make my husband happy. Sometimes I cook American food for myself. But most of the time I cook Kenyan food because that's what my family is. They're Kenyan. And yes, sometimes I get my hair done in the Kenyan way. I know some people have trouble with that. I didn't know people had trouble with that until this last time when I got my hair done, actually. But I would never move to Kenya to get my hair done. No, there is nobody in my area of Kenya that knows how to cut my hair. I have to go either to Nairobi or to Mombasa to find somebody who knows how to cut my hair. And I don't have money to go to Nairobi to cut my hair. Like, I'm not one of those Mzungus that can just travel anywhere at any time. So, when it was my husband's birthday, I got my hair done for him because he likes that. Maybe next time I won't record it because it's really nobody else's business, right?
Some said that you torturing your kids in Africa, and some days you go back to the US. Confirm this.
Yes. Okay. So I'm not going back to America unless God calls me back to America. There's a special blessing that rests with a person when they're in the place God wants them to be. And God called me to Kenya. And my kids are not at an age where I'm just going to send them off to America on their own. They're going to live where I live, and God's blessing will be there for them. They're getting to live in the village. They're getting to run around in nature every single day. They're getting to know their cousins, their aunties, their uncles, their culture, and all about God, all at the same time. They're getting a full education but they're also getting this beautiful life in the village. And it really is a beautiful life. So yes, we've been through hardship, but we could have gone through hardship in the US. I myself have been through times of hardship when I was living in the US and times of plenty. You can have that anywhere. Just because you're in the US doesn't mean you're rich.
Yeah, sure.
And just because you're in Kenya, in the village, doesn't make you poor.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah, it's a process.
And in the process of building your life, yes, sometimes you have nothing. But I know people in America who have owned their own businesses and been married and had 4 kids, and their businesses collapse.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they have nothing. And for months, they have nothing. And the wife and the husband, they stay together and they work together hard and they get through. And they build their life back up, and they've built it up to a wonderful thing again. And that's what I hope will happen with this family. Yes, we started with almost nothing, but we have each other, we have God, and we have, you know, the calling that He's placed on us. And He's not going to allow that calling to become nothing.
Yeah.
And because He's going to build our calling, He's going to build that life, He's going to build our life to be able to accommodate that. And already I've seen, just with reaching out, you know, through YouTube and through my trip home, there have been people who are willing to support the vision that we have out here. They're willing to support our family and our livelihood in the vision that we have out here. Even when I was still on TikTok, there was one lady in Nairobi. She's still a friend of mine. And 2 times over this last year, she sent me a care package.
Wow.
One day she just saw that I was sunburned. She said, you know what? I saw that you're sunburned. I'm going to send you sunscreen. And she didn't just send me sunscreen. She sent me sunscreen. She sent me lotion and soap and diapers and wipes and a hat and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And that was just the first care package she sent. There are lovely people out there, even here in Kenya, who have a heart to help others, and they do. And I don't ever plan to just be a charity case, but when you're working in ministry, your support and the support that you're able to give out to others all comes from people who are willing to give. And so that's why it's taken time to build. But now we're at the point of giving out. When I came here back from America, we got to do the most wonderful thing. And I hope to grow this in future years for Christmas. But this year, when I came back, we said, you know what? We've gotten so much. We want to do something to celebrate with the community. So we brought in the football team that Albert is teaching. We brought in some cousins and some family members. We brought in some community members from around here. And we killed a goat. And we grilled the goat up and made nyama choma. Yeah. We cooked rice and ugali. We bought chapati because it was just easier than cooking it. It was much faster. So we had a lady in Mayanja make a ton of chapati, and we bought all of it to make it just an easier day. We cut up the chapati. We had cabbage. We had only water. We didn't buy sodas or juices this time. But hopefully by next year, it's more than 1 goat. Maybe it's 2 goats. Maybe it's 3 goats. And a bunch of other things. And we can bring in the whole community and we can celebrate together. And it was a time of thanking God. It was a time, this time, I mean, I wasn't here for Christmas. So we celebrated in January when I came back. But it was just a Thanksgiving celebration to God and trying to share what we were given with the community around us, because we didn't want to celebrate alone. We wanted to bring something back into the community. And we were told by some of the boys that came here that it was a miracle in their lives just to be able to eat some meat. We had some people who don't eat meat, and they were just like, no, don't give me meat, just give me cabbage. And they were fine with that. But there were some that said they haven't eaten meat for so long because it's dry season, so there's not as much available right now. And because right now the economy is just struggling so much that locally here, a lot of people don't have the money to, like, they have barely enough to feed their families. So they're not going to go out and get meat. They're going to be eating sukuma, like, all the time. They might eat a little bit of well, you can't even really eat the managu right now because the wild managu isn't growing because it's dry season. So their variety of their diets is really suffering. They might have gotten a chicken at Christmas time. A lot of people couldn't even afford chickens this Christmas in our village because chickens went up to almost $20 each. And usually they're about $5 for a hen. it went up to $20. So from 500 shillings or 600 shillings up to, I think we got our chicken for 1,800 shillings. And that was 2 weeks before Christmas.
What?
And Albert had been looking for 2 weeks to be able to find a chicken because they were all
Yeah.
hard to find.
Yes, yes.
So a lot of people out here couldn't afford that. So we just wanted to celebrate with the village, to have Christmas with people who might not have somebody to spend it with. And we want to expand that as we go. Oh, another program. I forgot to tell you about one of our programs. I found a note in my binder last night. I have this calculation that I had made for like a widow's program. Once in a while, like maybe once a month, once we get funding for it, I want to be able to bring in some widows and give like a widow's care package to several widows in the area. And we'll involve like the local like guru or something like that, so that we can bring in the ones that really need the help. But we want to bring in several widows at a time, and then every month be able to give them something. So we can start them out with like maybe, you know, the basics, the rice, the sugar, the maize, some other things. And then we want to give them to start out with a sufria, because over time your sufrias wear out, and a lot of people around here only have one sufria that they have left in their houses because they don't have the extra money to go and buy more sufrias. So we want to be able to bless them with like one sufria and maybe a cooking utensil and then some bags of food to start out with. And then as we continue to go, we can continue with the food and maybe a couple of other items to help them around the house. But just a little bit of supplementary thing. I've been talking to this to my mom about this, about maybe doing it down at the church. So that's one of the programs we would really like to implement as we get the funding to do so.
Yeah. So
When I was in the US, I was my car broke down in the middle of the winter, so it was freezing cold. There was snow falling down around me. And yes. So, oh honey, I can't get that out. Anyway, there's snow falling down around me. I'm sorry, baby, it's not gonna come out. And it was freezing cold, and I didn't have a jacket. I should have had a jacket if I was planning well, but I didn't have a jacket because I was driving home in my heated car. So I broke down on the side of the road, and I had to get out of the vehicle and walk the rest of the way home at nighttime. And I was so freezing cold. And on the way home, I'm praying, God, send someone to help me. Just speak to one of these people in the vehicles passing to help me. And I kept praying this same thing, and nobody was stopping to help. And it got to one car that was driving by, and I'm like, God, why aren't you sending somebody to help me? And he said, I have told many people to help you, and they haven't chosen to stop. And he taught me something in that moment. He taught me that he speaks to us, but he can't force our hand. He speaks to us, but we have to be the ones to say,
yeah.
I will choose to act on what I'm feeling from God, and I will choose to help this person.
Yeah.
And so he was telling me all of these people, he was talking to many people, and none of them helped. And so I ended up having to walk all the way home in the snow with nothing to keep me warm. My brother-in-law ended up coming out to look for me because I was going to my sister's house at the time. And I didn't show up, and he was like, what's going on? So I did get a ride home for the last half of the journey, but I was so freezing cold. And that lesson has stuck with me personally, because it reminds me, if I feel something on my heart, if I feel like this person needs help, even if I can only help them a little bit, if God's telling me to help them, I can help them. God will provide, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes we give out of our lack, like the Philadelphia church in the Bible in Revelation. God praised them because even when they didn't have, they still gave.
Yeah.
And God always provided, you know? That's how God works. It's through people
works
like us
like that,
who
yeah.
just give out of what we have. So I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody who's given, everyone who has encouraged, everyone who's even prayed for me. Thank you. God bless you. May God increase you more and more. You've changed my life. And I know that you're going to continue to change the life of the community around me as you're more involved. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And God bless you.
Subscribing more is coming.
Yes. Subscribe to her channel. Everything she puts out is great.
Yes. And if in case people want to do business with you, because people might be interested to work with you.
My website is the best way to get in touch with me. They can find me on Instagram. I'm TrueJoy86 on Instagram. I don't see message requests every day, but I do go in and I always reply. But the best way is to send the contact us form on my website. I will give you the link for that so that they can find it easy. But my website is careyjoy.weebly.com. So CareyJoy.weebly.com.
Yeah.
So that one is my professional ministry website. That's where we take our donations. That's where we have our new and upcoming programs up there. I try and keep it updated. As I get internet access here, it will be updated more frequently. And it also has a contact us form, so you can email me back and forth.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.